Right. Hello, I'm Rob. I'm doing a talk later, so I'll introduce myself more then. I'm going to tell you about this year's game. And so some of you experienced last year's game. Some of you may know about last year's game. Something we do in Student Robotics is we change the game every year to keep it fun and exciting. And this year's game is called A Strange Game. Now, as you've seen in the video before, we play our games in a big arena. It was the big thing with the blue carpet and robots driving around in it, and lions and things. And there's our arena. It's about 8 meters across. So I guess that's from, you can imagine, it's like this big, sort of, yeah, pretty big. And 4 robots play at once in our game. On this diagram, they are little green things. And if I go to the next slide, in the arena there are 24 tokens. And a token looks like this. They're quite a lot bigger than previous tokens you might have seen. The ones in the video were about 1/8 of the volume of these, I think, or even less. So that's a token. And you know that some of them have got A, B, or they've all got A, B, C, or D in. And that's because these tokens belong to this robot. And those tokens belong to that one, and so on. And the way that you'll be able to tell that in the game is that they'll have different colours, coloured strips around the outside. I haven't got them on this token. Okay. In the middle of the arena, there's this grid on the floor marked out in tape. We're going to call those squares. Okay? And in the middle of each square, there's something we're going to call a pedestal, which is kind of about the same size as a token. It's about this big. And it's basically fixed to the floor in the middle of each square. Okay. So now I've shown you that. Yeah, we're going to move. I'm going to show you how you actually score points in this game. The idea of the game is that you take ownership of squares. And there are various ways you can do that. Here is a square. Firstly, you can put your token on the floor of the square. And if you're the only token in that square, you own that square. Now, it's only if you have the most tokens in that square that you own it. So, in this example, no one owns this square. 0 points are awarded for this square. And in this square, Team A wins the square. They own it. Now, we haven't looked at the pedestal yet. If Team B were to put their token on the pedestal, then they would own that square. No matter what. It doesn't matter how many other tokens are on the floor in that square, Team B will own that pedestal. This could be completely full, that space could be completely full of A, C, and D's tokens. Wouldn't matter how many there were on the floor, B would still own that square. So, how do the points actually work with that? We go back to the arena again. Obviously, we've got 9 squares. So let's say, well, you own 1 square in the arena. You get 1 point. For the second square that you own in a row or column, you get 3 points. Okay? If, for example, you own the top left one and this bottom middle one, you'd only get 1 point for each because they're not in the same row or column. For the third one that you own in a row or column, you get 6 points. And just for an example, so here you own that other one that I've just added. It's in the same row as another one, so you score 3 points for that. And that is the game. Are there any questions? I might go over it again. Yes?
Does a diagonal count as a row?
No. It's only rows and columns that count.
It could have.
It's a valid question. I mean, it's quite similar to naught in some ways. Yes?
Say if robot B puts their token on a pedestal, can robot A come and push that token on?
Yeah, so
Is that all right?
the question was, if someone's got a token on the pedestal, can someone else come and knock it off? The answer is yes. You can move other people's tokens around if you like, and the pedestals will have a very small rim around their top, which makes it slightly more difficult to knock them off. But yes, you can. Yeah.
What if A stacks on top of B? Who wins?
Okay, so if there are multiple tokens on the pedestal, the top one counts. Okay, yes, right back there.
And what happens if the token's not wholly inside the square? Does that count?
No. Tokens have to be, if there's any ambiguity about which square it's in, it doesn't count. And it has to be fully within the boundary of the square. Yes.
Sorry, do the pedestals have code images on them?
So the pedestals have code images on. Yeah, yes. So you may notice that this has got this sort of weird pattern on it. And I'm going to talk about this later. Your robots will be able to see these things. And they're basically everything you need to be able to see has one of these on. So yes, they do. Yeah.
How much do they weigh?
How much do these weigh? Actually, we weighed one about an hour ago, and they weigh about 300 grams. But I wouldn't well, we were thinking about maybe saying that they might weigh a bit more, because we might make some slightly stronger ones for the game. We're not really sure. So about 300 grams.
Too much.
Yes.
Does the actual one of the tokens start off in the robot, or do you have to start with nothing on your robot and you have to pick it up from your area?
So, all of these tokens here start there. You may be able to place one in your robot at the beginning of the game. That is something that is about to be defined when the rules go up, which will be later today. Yeah.
At the end of the match, if a robot has a token on it and it's inside one of the squares, does that count?
You're getting into the finer details now. The rules will be available on the website. I can show you. So I've just told you about I've told you a sort of summary of the rules. The rules are actually a document which we've written for you, which will be available on our website. So they're actually this document here. And so this is a draft of them. So you'll note some rules.
Yeah, we can read that.
And there are some regulations which are about how, things like what you need to do with the electronics on the robot, things to make it safe and actually functional. And then there's specifications about the different things that are in the arena. For example, there's these things called robot badges that get Velcroed to your robot at the beginning of the game so that other robots can see your robot. And a really important thing about these rules is this regulation here. This is a non-contact sport. So, and there are a couple of things there that are really important. Firstly, non-contact, right? It's not Robot Wars. We're looking for interesting robots rather than destructive ones. And the other word is sport. And just as when you play a game like football or table tennis, tiddlywinks, whatever, you know, the idea isn't to cheat. Okay, it's not to find loopholes. It's to play the game with the spirit of the game, and that's what we expect from all of you. Okay. Yes, over there. Height of the pedestal. They're about the same height as the token, pretty much. Bang on. Steve.
You didn't quite answer the question about whether a box in a robot in a square is a valid box.
Yes, I didn't answer that question.
There's still a document weeds.
Yes. Well, we go to the rules. And we can see whether they cover that situation.
Josh, you immediately found something in this.
Hang on, I missed it. What?
Box on robot in square.
Yeah, so
I'd hope it would, as long as the
well,
box
we
is
have to
all
look
in.
at it. I'm being too slow. So it's all about how they're captured somewhere. I'm being polite.
We'll worry about this later. Ignore
We'll worry
Josh's
about it
questions.
later. The thing about the rules, right, is that it's a document that we've tried to capture sort of the essence of the game in. You may have questions about it, and we have many ways that you can ask us questions about them and get clarifications from us. The main one is our forums, which are on the website. And you will get user accounts at some point in the near future, and you can log into forums, you can ask questions on
I
there.
might actually remember what it is this year.
But are there any more questions now? Yes.
Are we allowed to squash the cubes through transportation?
Sorry?
Are we allowed to squash the cubes into...
Are you allowed to squash the cubes?
No.
Um,
Keep squashing.
they're not. They're quite. You know, they're reasonably delicate things.
That's incredible.
And you know, you shouldn't damage them. You shouldn't damage any part of the arena, or the props within the arena, or the robots within the arena, etc. There's one back there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just wondering, what's the policy on projectiles?
On projectiles, I mean, do you want to throw one of these?
No, I mean on the robot, like. Sorry, not half.
So you want to throw something else?
Like firing something at something on the pedestal to knock it out.
Oh, I see. Well, you could do that if you like, as long as you can be 100% sure you're not going to damage the token or any other robots.
Right, people.
Or people. Yeah, we always forget people. Any more questions? One right back there, Mr. Sam.
How do we know a robot is valid?
How do we know a robot is valid?
Check it.
Hmm?
Are we going to check it?
Yeah, so those regulations I showed you about in the rules. At the beginning of the game, we will check that your robot is actually adhering to those rules. There are things like size limit. That is one that, for some reason, always gets people. Your robot has to fit in a box of a certain size. Okay? And a classic error is to make the robot about 3 millimeters too large to fit in that box. It becomes sort of, how hard can you push it in kind of affair. I wouldn't recommend that.
Doesn't say you're connected yet.
Any more questions? Yeah. How big is the size? So the robot size is 500 millimeter cube, which is, so this is a 300 millimeter cube basically. So it's about that size of cube. Any more? Yes, no one.
Are we allowed to stack a big pile of cubes on top of the robots?
You can try. You can. Yeah, there are no rules about how many tokens you can
Do you want me to put more on
Allowed
fire?
to expand outside of the initial cell without the
Yes, robots can get bigger during the game if they like, but at the beginning of the game they have to be the right size. Yeah. Okay. So, what's
Oh, next to 7 would like to
agenda,
prepare. Yep.
Mr.
Yeah, I just
Sam?
prepare.
We've got the mini competition with you.
Okay, so
It's panic, but it won't
on the
panic
road with the
properly.
blue shirts, ready to
Yes.
deal with that situation?
Oh, connected 2 connections. In.
I mean, to guide you through it. So,
Stay here, right?
yeah, hang on. So, what's going to happen now is we're going to take all of you, except the teachers, because I want to talk to them, over to another building on campus, where there will be wonderful fun and games for all.
Where are we going? What?
Hang on.
What? I didn't hear that. What? I missed that entirely. I was talking to Joe. Pause it.
So, if you head out